So I know a lot of you out there in YouTube land and Facebook land and Instagram land and all the other lands in the land are getting sick and tired of me talking about Dr. Bill Cosby. And yes, I still say Dr. Bill Cosby because to my knowledge, he received his doctorates in education, which makes him a doctor, correct? Even though they took back all their honorary degrees, he still achieved his own level of educational success. He had his own degrees, one of which was a doctorate in education, which would make him a doctor, correct? Am I mistaken on that? If I'm mistaken, please let me know in the comment section below. But I feel as though it's necessary for me and people like me to keep talking about Bill Cosby. Just like we would keep talking about anything that we're passionate about, or just like we would keep talking about anything that we feel as though people need to listen to, such as Seth Rich, such as WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, such as Medicare for All, such as, an unbiased and fair legal justice system. These are things that we should continuously talk about. Racism. I would love to live in a world where nobody saw race. Well, I take that back. I don't want to live in a world where nobody sees race or color, because race and color are beautiful things. They're beautiful concepts. They're what make us different. They're what make us unique. And we're all beautiful. We're all different in our own ways, and that's perfectly fine. I guess I just wish that people didn't see a problem with color. I wish that we all saw each other for what we are, and this just different beautiful beings. But unfortunately, me and people that look like me get constantly reminded every single day what our color is. We get constantly reminded who we are in this society, in this country, and in this world. So it's hard for me as a black man in America to come out here and to put on a show as if I'm not deeply bothered by everything that's going on around me, especially the Bill Cosby case. And I see people putting out their videos. I see some black women putting out their videos, and I see some, other people putting out the videos against Bill Cosby, saying how, and here's the thing, people are on different levels with this. Some people, they don't know if he did it, but they're kind of on the side of, well, basically everybody's saying it, and he was convicted, so he must have did it. And then there's people like me that don't believe the bullshit at all. Then there's people that just believe all the Kool-Aid, and they're just like, nope, he did it. They were ready to convict him 3-4 years ago. And I see these people putting out videos, these different people putting out videos, and I feel as though it's my job and people like me to counteract that knowledge, to combat that false information that's spreading around the internet and otherwise. For example, I still keep hearing people say that Bill Cosby admitted to drugging and raping women. That is absolute nonsense. That's not what he admitted. He never admitted that at all. If you actually read the deposition, he admitted to giving women quaaludes with the intent of having sex with them later. I know it must sound like rape to a lot of people, but that's not what it is. They asked him a series of questions. He answered. He admitted to getting pills. He had pills because of his he had a bad back, and he just kept getting them. So Bill Cosby became Pill Cosby. It is what it is. I think I could say that without but he never admitted to drugging and raping women. That was totally taken out of context, and they're using that, a doctored deposition, by the way. They took that deposition, doctored it, and made it seem as though he said that he admitted to drugging and raping women, and that's not the case. That's exactly what the media does. That's exactly what the news does. They take something, they doctor it up, and they present it to the people. So a lot of times they're not actually lying to you directly, but they're indirectly being disingenuous. Well, they're directly being disingenuous, but they're indirectly lying to you. Lying to me, lying to us. They lie to everybody. That's why I don't watch mainstream news. Fox, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, none of that shit. I don't even listen to a lot of people online anymore because I see them following the same trends. I'm sorry, but Graham Elwood is horribly mistaken and horrendously incorrect on a lot of shit, it seems. And I generally liked Graham. You know, I'm sure that he's a great guy when you meet him and you have a beer with him. You might even smoke a joint with him if he's, you know, but when it comes to issues such as like the Second Amendment, he called all gun owners pussies and said it with a straight face. And, you know, when you have a platform like that, you don't go around making generalized statements like that you don't mean. And just because you're a person that doesn't believe in carrying a weapon doesn't mean that you can go around, well, you can, but it doesn't mean that you should go around criticizing and calling people pussies because they choose to protect themselves. Who the fuck are you? And I don't like the way that he's talking about Bill Cosby. You know, it's easy, and, you know, excuse all the people to watch me, no disrespect to anybody that may find these words disrespectful, but it's easy for a white person to speak on matters such as this and to condemn him. And then, you know, that's just what it is. You know, it's just easy for them. And when me hearing it as a black man, when I hear these people talk about Bill Cosby or anybody of color like this and they automatically condemn them, I start giving them a serious side eye. Because Graham Elwood is supposed to be a political commentator at least. I'm sure he dibbles and dabbles in journalism and tries to get to the root of tutor, tries to get to the facts. But that doesn't seem to be the case when it comes to Bill Cosby, when it comes to the Second Amendment with Graham Elwood. You know, I see a lot of my favorite political commentators drop the ball on this. And it doesn't matter if you believe Bill Cosby is innocent or if he's guilty. Innocent or guilty, it does not matter. Everybody deserves a fair trial, and he was not given one. The DA, Kevin Steele, was corrupt. The judge, Stephen O'Neill, was corrupt. The jury of his so-called peers, yeah, they were corrupt. The man who brought this whole case back into the light, that was corrupt. He was corrupt for that. This whole shit, and I'm sorry, you can call me what you want, but it just really looks as though it was orchestrated. And they've been trying to get Bill Cosby for years. People say, yeah, we've heard rumors, you know, in Hollywood. But don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit. Well, we knew it in Hollywood this whole time. It's just now coming out for you guys. Well, you know what? If you knew it in Hollywood all them years back, then you're just as fucking guilty as Bill Cosby. You're just as guilty as he is. You're complicit. If you all knew back in the day that that's what he was doing, but they didn't know that that's what he was doing because it's fucking bullshit. And I hear a lot of people coming out saying, you know, I'm such and such years old and I remember hearing about Bill. We remember hearing about Bill Cosby, but they never say what they heard. They can never tell you directly. We heard about Bill Cosby raping women back in the 70s, back in the 60s, back in that. They can never tell you that directly, but they always say, oh, we remember hearing about Bill Cosby. You remember propaganda. And I'm sorry for getting loud in certain parts. I see it clipping as I'm recording this, but you can tell I'm passionate about it. I have to be passionate about it. Number one, I'm a progressive. No, let me take that back. Number one, I'm a black man in America. So I know the history. I know that my people get falsely accused all the fucking time for sex crimes, for burglaries, for murder, all for all kind of shit. Look what they did to Michael Jackson, and it turns out it was all a fucking lie. Michael Jackson was probably the most pure-hearted, fucking nicest guy you've ever met. I've never met him. I haven't had the pleasure and you know, the privilege of meeting Michael Jackson. But I feel that. I feel like that's who he was. Because the way the media and everybody else demonized him and tried to say that he was touching on little boys? Come on, man. And we as the black community, we're just supposed to accept that? See, that's my problem. That's the problem. We as the black community, we're so easily manipulated by propaganda and bullshit. And we as progressives, we say that we're so, woke and we're critical. We dig deep and we get to the facts and the nitty gritty of the situation, but then we drop the ball on Bill Cosby? Why? Was the amount of women overwhelming to you? And a lot of people, it was. The amount of women that came out, it was just overwhelming. So you mean to tell me, every single time, more than 3, 4 women come out against a person, you're automatically going to believe them? Which brings me to the main point of this video. I don't know if it's exactly a main point, but it is a point, mainly. They got this thing now. It's been, it's been happening for a while now, but they're making t-shirts now. It's all over the internet saying, "Believe women." Are you fucking kidding me? Believe women. I'm going to make my own t-shirt and I'm going to start selling them on this channel. You guys can get it here exclusively. And it's going to say, "Believe evidence. Believe in fair trials. Believe in the justice system and not the injustice system. Innocent until proven guilty." And for Bill Cosby, unfortunately, it was guilty until proven guilty. And the media, the politicians, the judges, the DA, the fucking people helped to lock Bill Cosby up. And now that he's locked up, going through everything that he went through, being demonized in the media, being memed, being made of a laughing stock in cartoons and shows and everything else, he's going through all this shit, goes to prison. You know what I'm saying? And now he has to deal with that on top of everything else. Amber Rose coming out talking about she hopes that he serves all 10 years and then gets out. And on the day he gets out, she wants him to drop dead. That's what Amber Rose thinks about black men. Oh, LB, you're going too far with that one. She just feels that way about Bill Cosby because Bill Cosby's a rapist. There was no evidence to prove that. He did not get a fair trial. He was demonized and slandered in the media before he ever had a day in court. This is wrong. And you wonder why I'm mad and I'm frustrated and I'm yelling, because this is wrong and this sets a dangerous precedent for the rest of everybody else. Think about it. They made Bill Cosby, I sound like Harvey from Your World. they made Bill Cosby the face of the Me Too movement. He's the first person that's been prosecuted. You mean Bill Cosby? Bill Cosby, Dr. Bill Cosby, a black man, an 81-year-old black man. He is the face of rape and sexual assault here in America? Get out of here. Just leave. Just leave and go and leave with that train of thought. Get the fuck out of here. But Emmett Till's killer, she basically set the whole shit up. His killer is still alive and kicking, right? She ain't seen no jail time. All these white men out here that raped all these black women, and that's what kills me, and this is one of the reasons why black people are so frustrated and so angry. You wonder why we're so fucking mad. You wonder why we're in poverty and we're just running, we mean mug and shit, because we get fucked over by every fucking body. We get called niggers and darkies and monkeys and apes and mayates and negros and all this other shit. by every fucking body, man. So it's hard for me to just ignore all the hate that I see directed towards my people. From everybody, from white people, from Latin people, from other black people, Asians, every fucking body has a problem with dark people. And it's so fucking sad and frustrating. You wonder why we're pissed off all the time, because we get railroaded. All these white men this white man raped a 3-year-old girl and received probation? These white boys can rape as many women as they want to, but let one black man say hi to a white woman and he's getting lynched. High tech, low tech, mid, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it is what it is. And my problem is the progressive community. I feel like they don't really acknowledge that. Like, if you look at the way the politicians word their platforms. Even Kyle Kalinske said in Secular Talk that it makes no sense to highlight a certain group of people as a progressive, because, you know, when you talk about a certain issue, it affects everybody. So it takes care of the minorities. It takes care of those disenfranchised people at the same time. But that, to me, is disingenuous, and it doesn't go far enough. We as progressives really have to stand behind the people. If we're going to call ourselves for the people and by the people, we got to really mean that shit. And that means taking responsibility for what we do and say. But that also means, in a greater context, is what I'm trying to say. Like, we have to really include groups of people. Like, we have to, instead of saying, you know, reform the criminal justice system, we actually have to say, in very basic terms, stop disparaging black people. Stop killing black people disproportionately. Like, you know, and that's very basic. Obviously not that, but in a very basic term, that's what I mean. Like, we actually have to say it. Solidarity with with African Americans here. You know, why can people express their solidarity with Native Americans and indigenous people? Solidarity with indigenous people. But when it comes to black people, it's like that's nowhere to be found. Because a lot of people really don't give a fuck about us. That's why a lot of black people are just removing themselves from the situation completely. And they're just saying, fuck you. I'm not a progressive. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Republican. And none of that shit. I'm black. I'm black first. Because at the end of the day, black, you know, we're at the bottom of the fucking totem. We're at the bottom of the fucking pile. You know, you can say all you want about how Mexican, immigrants are being, attacked and all this other shit about, indigenous folks. But black people are the ones that were actual slaves in this country, America. We could talk about white slavery. We could talk about, all this other slavery around the world if you want to. Right now, I'm talking about African American slavery. Slaves in America were black mostly. So when you understand that, and you understand Jim Crow laws, and you understand the context of what I'm saying here, all of this bullshit, racism, bigotry, slavery, Jim Crow laws, the lynchings, this all plays into what the fuck I'm talking about now. Fast forward 2018, here we go, Bill Cosby. Did he receive a fair trial? No. Was there any evidence presented to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Bill Cosby is guilty? Negative. Has anybody really dug deep on these women, these so-called accusers or so-called victims? No, not really. Most of you just probably skimmed through some stories or whatever, but you didn't really see the inconsistencies. You didn't really count the fact that, they lied to telling their stories, or that they changed their stories up so many times you lose count. Nobody's saying this shit. But you're all too willing to condemn a black man to 3 to 10 years in a state prison off stories. You're all too willing. It's just so easy for you to just count them out. You got to ask yourselves a question. Why is it so easy for you to condemn Bill Cosby? Why is it so easy for you to believe that this man did all these things to 60 plus women, but they could only use one? And the one woman they used had a flimsy, shaky ass. Her story was so shaky and flimsy that the first district attorney, Bruce Castor, refused to take the case because he knew it was bullshit. He came out and said that. Tom Mesereau, Bill Cosby's previous attorney, came out and said this was a farce of a trial, that he's getting railroaded. None of this shit adds up, and very few people give a damn because of the context of the situation, because it's rape and sexual assault. You're letting your emotions and your feelings about rape and sexual assault cloud your reasoning, your logic, your understanding of criminal justice, of a fair trial, of evidence, until of innocent until proven guilty. Like, you've lost all of it. It just went out your mind. We just forgot about that, right? They also tried to get somebody else on a sex crime. You know who else they tried to get on a sex crime? Julian Assange. So these things happen, people. These things happen. People get set up all the time. And guess what? It tends to happen a lot more when you're black. Just saying. I am just saying. So, believe women? No. No. I believe evidence. I believe innocent until proven guilty. I stand with real victims of sexual abuse. I stand with real victims of rape and sexual assault. I know real victims and survivors. And we shouldn't call it. You know what? Them ladies could be victims they want. I know real survivors of rape and sexual assault. And they tell me, they've told me that these women are bullshitting. They told me that they don't believe the hype. So you guys can believe the hype all you want to on the internet and all these other shows that you guys watch or whatever. It really doesn't matter to me, because I know down here, where I'm from at least, all the people that I know, the people that are from the ghetto and from poverty, the people that are really black and not pretend black and not sometimes black, we know what's up. We know what happens to black men here in America. People that have actually been in the courtroom proceedings have said this is bullshit. Check out Nicole's View. Shout out to Nicole's View on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Shout out Drew Story News on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that. These people were there. They were present. They studied this way more so than I have. And they were actually there. They seen these people, like, so yeah, I'm going to keep talking about it. For all my people out there that don't want to hear about me talk about Bill Cosby, just skip the video. It's all good. It's all good. But I feel as though it's necessary for me to keep talking about it, because other people keep making videos and they keep sending out all these bullshit articles trying to destroy Bill Cosby, paint him as a sexual deviant and a monster. And fuck that. I'm not having that shit. I'm not going to stand for that shit. As long as I got a voice, as long as I got a fucking camera in my hands, I'm going to keep talking about this shit. I'm going to keep talking about Bill Cosby. And even if I got to repeat myself, I'm going to keep repeating myself until motherfuckers understand. Bill Cosby did not admit to raping and drugging women. Stop saying that shit. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. It breaks my heart seeing all these celebrities out here. My favorite actor and comedian in the whole wide world, John Leguizamo, Puerto Rican and Colombian cat. I believe he's half Puerto Rican, half Colombian. With the Believe Women shirt. With the stumping for the Democrats, with the whole liberal agenda. It's just really like Mind-boggling. Rosie Perez, I just seen the latest one. You know, these are my folks. These are my people. And to see them like so propagandized by the bullshit is just heartbreaking. You know, and all I'm doing now is arguing with people on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook about how this whole shit is orchestrated. And, you know, and I don't know if it has anything to do with NBC. It's just funny that it all started when he expressed interest in buying NBC. I'm just saying. But that's all speculation. So, where are my keys at? Oh, I lost my keys. Oh, I got them. So, I don't know. I'm going to end this video. And I'm going to pick it up on another one. Actually, I recorded this. That's just audio, so I don't know how I'm even going to upload this. But I hope you guys are good. If not, I hope you guys do better. Keep fighting. Keep talking about what you're passionate about. And keep talking about what needs to be talked about. Because in the age of information, the disinformation is running rampant. It's crazy out here. It is crazy out here with how the news media does people with propaganda and how they paint pictures. It's really a war that we're fighting here. So with all that being said, remember always to love, remember peace, and keep spreading that enlightenment because we need it. All right. See you guys on the next one. You can catch me on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, BitChute, YouTube, all that jazz. And I'm out.